No longer living a lie. In this Share Your Story submission, Suzie writes in about her experiences with abuse and subsequent transition into mental health, abusive relationships, and the impact that that had on her life. I've been sitting on this Share Your Story for a while, because when I read it, it really hit home. Suzie's story is different to my story, but the impact on her life and how the trauma and abuse sort of made her feel. I feel a lot of that. I feel a lot of similarities, and I really struggled to shoot this video or even have the capacity to start releasing it because it did impact me so much. Now, I think that's the whole point of this project that I'm wanting to do. I'm wanting to give people a platform to share their story, but I'm also wanting to help people to connect to themselves and to their pasts. Now, for me, this one hit home for me, but it also helped me to see some things that I'm still struggling to deal with and to cope by myself. Now, there's a little line that I want to quickly read to you. It says, "My recovery has restored my autonomy. I remind myself that I'm capable of making choices and my choices matter. I had to reach a very low point before I could begin to heal." Now, that really resonates with me because one of the big things for my recovery was to know that I'm in control of my life, or that I have some ability to control my life. And, you know, everyone's story is different, and like I said, my story is different to Suzie's, but that factor of being out of control really does impact. And you sort of have to, in order to take control of your life, you have to realize that you do have control of your life, and there's sort of a bit of a paradox there. And I think the only way to really overcome that, or just to sort of grasp that concept, is through hearing other people taking charge of their lives and taking ownership and taking action, or by, you know, speaking to a therapist and getting them to start working you through and seeing that you can make those choices. You know, and Suzie sort of goes on a little bit later down saying that from the abuse that she faced, she went into struggling with self-harm and alcoholism. And she writes that self-harming was perhaps the addiction that she struggled with most, because as she let go of her other disorders, she craved a sense of control. Controlling within the body has always been a coping mechanism. She controls, I can control what I do myself, even if I can't control what others do to me. And that's really telling, because, you know, and I've had issues with self-harm in the past. When you self-harm, it's a release, but it's also a way of controlling something. And similar aspects with eating disorders and other things that some people struggle with. It's a way of reclaiming control. The behavior isn't, you know, quote, good for you, but the reclaiming of control is something that everyone craves. And if people are doing things to you that you can't control, then what can you control? You can control your ability to self-harm or to eat or something like that. And the final little thing that I wanted to mention is that she prescribes a lot of her recovery to her husband, who helped her to escape the abusers that were physically and sexually abusing her. She'll be forever grateful to men like him who are good and strong and decent. It gives her hope. I want to emphasize that although you might be suffering something yourself, there are always people out there who care. And if, you know, in this case, if men are abusing you, or if older people are abusing you, or whatever, there are other people that are in that demographic that won't. So don't feel like every person in that category is at fault. There will be people that you can turn to reach out to and get assistance from. I'll place a link below so that you can read Suzie's story for yourself. And if you've got a story that you would like to share, I really encourage you to do so. So many people have written to me after the fact of doing one of these Share Your Stories, saying that the act of writing it itself was healing and therapeutic. And actually Suzie mentions a bit of that in this story. And, you know, I can fully attest to that, given, you know, myself writing my first book under the influence and now continuing to write. It became something that I did as a form of therapy, and now I'm trying to turn it into a career. So I can very much attest to the healing benefits of writing. But more so, I want to encourage people to share their story so that other people that are going through or have gone through a similar life circumstance can see that they're not alone. If you've gone through something or you're going through something, share your story, talk. It helps break down the stigma, but you might never know who you're impacting, but someone else will read your story and they'll be like, oh, okay, there's hope. The things that I'm feeling are normal. I do see a way out now. Take that action if you can. Read the story, and if you've got something you want to share, please do so. Thanks. If you like what I'm doing here, please consider supporting me on patreon.com/ZachPPhillips. A small contribution on your end will make a massive difference on my end. Thank you.